Welcome to You Are Intuitive, a refreshing series of interviews featuring candid, intimate, and grounded conversations about developing and using intuition in the real world. I am your host, Dana Mahacek, and it's an absolute joy to have you here. Thank you so much for watching, listening, and tuning in. My guest today is a seeker and a forever curious teacher and guide who supports her clients in connecting with their internal compass. Lauren Aletta teaches people how to understand and harness their natural, intuitive, and energetic systems so that they can powerfully navigate their own lives. She's a spirited writer and speaker, creator of the much-loved Soul School monthly series, and author of the potent and practical guidebook, Into the Woods. Lauren is the creator of both the Connected and Free Oracle and the Lumina Tarot card decks that greet the heart with illumination and insight. She offers a variety of services, including workshops and courses, intuitive readings, and soul food sessions. Lauren's purpose is to revolutionize the way that people connect with themselves and their lives by expanding their knowledge and understanding of their intuitive and energetic abilities. You can find Lauren at Inner Hue, the online spiritual safe haven and home base that provides an abundance of resources to support your adventure of awakening and aligning to your truth in this modern world. Thank you again for being here and enjoy this conversation. All right, I am here with my beautiful friend, Lauren Aletta. And for those of you who don't know my history with Lauren, we are very beautiful friends now. But it actually started off that she was my mentor and my teacher to help me with my own intuitive development. And so, of course, I'm absolutely thrilled to get the chance to speak with you today and to unpack all of these things about intuition and energy and all of those delicious realms. So thank you, Lauren.
Thank you. This is fun. It's so nice to have this convo with you. It's so nice to know, was it 2 years?
2 years.
Yeah, but look at you doing this stuff. It's so cool.
I'm like Oprah now.
Yeah.
So the first question I'm going to ask you feels also like the most obvious question, but the reason why I'm asking it is because I've received a range of answers to this question already. So like this series is called You Are Intuitive. And the first thing I want to ask is if you consider yourself intuitive and if you call yourself intuitive.
Yeah, definitely. I'm human, therefore I'm intuitive. That's it.
Exactly, end of story. That's my my feeling about it too, is that everyone and anyone can be intuitive, is intuitive.
Already.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, it's just that's it. Even if the person who tells me that they're not at all, I'll acknowledge what they have to say. I believe that that's cool for them, and then I just secretly go bullshit.
Exactly. That's nice to hear, but you're a liar.
You know, they would just do it in their own way. They get the gut hunch, or they just got the feeling, or it just didn't feel right for them. But they don't want to pass that as intuitive, and that's cool for me. That's fine. It
Definitely.
is.
But actually, P.S., you are intuitive. Yeah. Have you always felt that you were intuitive, or have you always known that you were intuitive? And was there ever a time in your life where you had difficulty reconciling that, or had difficulty sharing that with other people, or has it always been this kind of matter of fact, I'm intuitive, you're intuitive, let's all be intuitive.
Yeah, no, not at all. I guess I can't remember not being intuitive, and so I was very little, but I didn't think of it like that. It was life, it was normal. I don't know if my dog's bothering you.
No, it's fine. My dog might bark too, so it's all good.
And it wasn't until I sort of became aware that perhaps seeing things or sensing things wasn't the kind of parameter or framework other people, or if they did, they kind of boo-hooed it, or they put it as make-believe, or just not real. And then that would have been around probably when I was about 10. And then as I moved more into my teens, I then really realized, oh, there's quite a big stigma attached to having something that is or being interested in something that is unseen and magical, or psychic, intuitive. That you're now one of those people, and those people fit in this kind of box and look like this sort of person, and they do these kind of things and live this kind of lifestyle, and you don't want to kind of go too far into that, and that was difficult to reconcile, coming from a somewhat religious background.
Yes.
It was difficult to reconcile coming from a middle class background that's emphasis was on education, and I kind of went, oh, hang on, don't be the weird girl.
And what did you do to not be the weird girl? Like, how did you compartmentalize yourself, or how did you suppress certain aspects of yourself?
Look, I did, but clearly I didn't do a very good job of it, because now that I'm sort of out of the closet, as they say, and I stumble across people from school, they were like, oh yeah, you're always like that. I was like, damn, you don't understand the inner turmoil. And the
Absolutely. The angst.
Yeah, I try to like keep it in and shh, don't be like that too much. And only to select people, and just a little bit to select people, really failed. So while I can say definitely, like I very much felt like I was trying to, follow by the rule book and limit strange weirdness. And really, it was very internal, keeping it all to myself. It was incredibly secret and private and strange. Because and I think that I was brave enough, even if I did want to speak about it, who could I speak about it to?
Yeah.
I didn't. What has been interesting for me is kind of, I sort of call them the, purple wearing, crystal ball wielding, lavender smelling cat ladies. I didn't actually resonate with them. I was like, I don't know, there's something imbalanced there, and there's something ungrounded there, and I just internally, I didn't feel like that was the way that I was going to learn how to harness it. And then everybody else was like, oh, that's just weird, or that's just strange, or that's, would be silly, Lauren. So I kind of was like, oh, even if I did want to sort of put my hand up as being the weirdo, I didn't feel like there was any place that I could go to anyway.
Yeah, that there was nobody to really relate to that, or
tell me about what was going on for me.
Mm-hmm. And then, so is that partly why you've created Inner Hue now, to sort of be that resource and that touchstone for the other weirdos who are like, what's going on, and who can I talk to about this? And
for that, And also because if you're human, you're intuitive, and there isn't a strong societal foundation that speaks openly as to what it is to be a soul having a human experience. We have an abundance of information around everything else, but people come to me basically usually as their last resort, and they don't have to be there going, I want to learn intuition. They're wanting to say, what's going on for me? I'm having these experiences. I'm a high flying, corporate businesswoman or businessman, or I'm, a doctor, or I'm whatever it is, or I'm a mother at home, but I'm sensing there's something really going on and I can't understand what it is. And can you help me with that? So it's not just about teaching those that are wanting to get more in tune with their natural capabilities of being intuitive and to read energy. It's for people that are awakening and having an awareness of, oh crap, there's something more to me, and where can I go? Where can I speak to someone and feel safe about sharing this strange information with, or these experiences that I'm having that feel scary but are real.
And first of all, you do an amazing job of that. Speaking from experience, I know I don't feel like I came to you as a last resort, but I really resonated with this, with the realness of it and the realness of you, that it was like something was shifting in me and something was expanding in me, and I had a hint about what it was, but I didn't really know how to harness it. And the last thing I wanted to do was because I come from a very academic background, and the last thing I wanted to do was, and also from a religious family, so I didn't want to be in my like pretty sane, pretty safe kind of package or box, and then all of a sudden become this like crazy cat lady with a crystal ball. And so seeing you and knowing about you, it was like, oh, thank goodness there's someone who's like a real person who's not going to require me or suggest to me that I need to like go right off the deep end right away. I could take it at my own pace and become intuitive and understand myself as this energetic, intuitive being in a way that still felt really, I'll keep saying real, but like that still felt really grounded and, approachable and accessible, and not this like untouchable crazy person. So you do a wonderful job of that. I can attest to that firsthand. And I was wondering if you could, now my dog is here too, so I was wondering if you could speak to, if you could kind of go back in time a little bit to like what you had been talking about this angst and this struggle and this turmoil that you had gone through before kind of coming out officially as this intuitive person, even though, you talk about not doing a very good job hiding it or covering it up. Can you just speak a little bit about what it was like to have that energy inside you, and what it was like to have these experiences, intuitive experiences, but not really knowing what to do with them or how to share them or who to share them with? Could you speak a little bit about that time?
Yeah. It was really quite a long journey and a long process, and I think there are a few things, like while we're speaking directly around people who might have a natural gift at being able to be intuitive, to read frequency and energy, to perceive unseen information that is a more natural skill or ability to them than, you know, others. And I really look at it like this: I can run, but I'm not Usain Bolt. And so it's sort of like everybody has this gift and ability. Mine just happens to be my sole purpose and expression is to work in this way. But that's not everybody's. That doesn't mean that you're not intuitive or that you can't use your intuitive and energetic capabilities in the area of which your soul is guiding you towards. So, and then there is, you know, the human integration, which is so is like just a massive part of the process. So it was a long journey of basically overcoming my own stories, of which, let me say, I still have many more to overcome. But to finally accept and embrace, right, and this is who I am, and more so make sense of this is what I need to do with it. Because it seemed this is who I am, but it was up here in the air. And I'm very practical. Like I love this human experience, and I want to have my soul self be in expression. And for me to do that, then I need to be able to understand how I can utilize what it is that I am in a way that serves. So it's then I'm sort of going through and doing all the dirty work around the sort of crappy beliefs I had about myself and the stories that I told myself, and, you know, past hurts and pain and all the roadblocks that I had created that I needed to then deconstruct and create a new pathway for. And that took a really long time. You know, I suffered really terrible depression around 18, 19, 20, on and off, like terribly so, because I didn't know what to do with, you know, some of the things that I would see, and I didn't understand, you know, great, finished school and I got this wonderful score and I can go off to university and I'm there and I'm like, oh, but something internally is telling me that this is all wrong and I'm not meant to be here. And what do I do with this part of me? And how do I make it into that part? And when I would step into that world, it felt too overwhelming. And then when I would disconnect from it, it felt like I had shut out such a big part of myself that I went into big depression. And it reinforced other stories that I had about myself that were untrue. So, you know, for me, it was quite, yeah, it wasn't fun in it. Looking back at it, I was like, yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. That was rad. Let's do it again. No.
Well, you know, let's do it again now that I know far more of the skills and the tools. When I have, like, it's like I had no idea what bus I was driving. Now I feel like I've got some idea of, you know, how to drive this bus and how to navigate things. And phew, it's so much of that is actually energetic and so much of that is intuitive. And I think it's the thing that is really missing for everybody, regardless of whether you're here to do work in an intuitive way or whether you're out there being an unbelievable scientist, or, you know, knowing how this works is so important. So yeah, I think it was a step-by-step process, and one little stepping stone at a time. And you're only ever going to get that next stepping stone, and you just have to get in there and do it and be okay with not knowing what's coming next, but then you will know, and then doing that next one. And I finally did come out and own Inner Hue when I finally set up the Facebook page before I had a website, and I made a dodgy blog myself, and it was the scariest thing I think that I had ever, like, I felt sick to hit invite to my friends, because I never wanted to push myself onto anybody else or push my beliefs, and I didn't want to be judged, and I was worried about the people that I might lose, friends and family who might be like, or that might poo-hoo me, and more than that, that might poo-hoo me for thinking that I was good enough to come out to lead something that was coming from in here. Who are you, Lauren? Look at these things that you've done, the mistakes that you've made, and now you're saying that people should listen to you, or that you have a voice around something. Oh, like sickening.
Yeah.
But that one thing there was the hardest thing that I've done, and the catalyst for the rest of everything. Yeah. So if you can get over that big hard lump, then you're good. Basically, everything else is easy. You just keep doing it.
But I really resonate with that story too, and I really identify with the feelings of sickness, of just like, oh, I can't believe I'm going to like put this label or this title on myself as like unintuitive, right? Like I was just like, oh my God, I can't do this. And I remember too, when I was working with you, one of the first exercises was basically just to own, like, be intuitive around other people. And at the time I was like, I can't be intuitive around, the people I'm working with. They'll think I'm batshit crazy. Like if all of a sudden I'm like, oh, energy and chakras and all of this, I couldn't. I was just like, any homework assignment aside from that, I don't want to do that. But then, like you were saying, it's like they already kind of know that about you. Like you think it's this big secret, and that nobody knows that you're this like energetic being. You think you're doing such a great job of like concealing your true identity.
And you know why they know? Is because they're intuitive and energetic, and you just admit it. Like, we can't help but have the energetic framework and structure that we have, and there is nothing you can do about it. You can incognito up as all that you like, and it doesn't stop what it is that you radiate. It's pointless.
Exactly.
But to own it, integrating the human self and the soul self, and you're stopping to feel like two people anymore. You're starting to be like, that was scary to do, but oh my God, sweet relief. I feel a little bit more like me, and I just honored me, and that's so much better.
Yeah, just like choosing yourself rather than other people's expectations, whether it's, in many cases, I know for me personally, it was what I thought other people's expectations were of me, or what I thought other people wanted of me, or who they wanted me to be. Those weren't actually their expectations. Those were my assumptions and my fears of like, oh, I'm supposed to be this type of person, and if I come out as somebody different, they'll reject me or they won't like me. But all of that was this big elaborate story I had constructed, and none of it was real. It didn't mean it didn't feel real to like get over that hump, but when I was on the other side of it, I was like, huh, that was all me.
Well, and I think the other thing too is that even if a person does have those expectations or assumptions of you, you're going to highlight something in them by beginning to be you, which is going to either confront them and they're going to run off, but it's still going to have shifted them in some way.
Yeah.
Or it's going to give them permission or curiosity to get more curious about themselves. And people love it when you can own who you are, even if you don't particularly like them. And if you think on a global stage, there are people globally, like, I mean, if we just use, oh my gosh, Trump, who honestly, I want to stick my finger, like, I could probably think of lots of far more hideous and terrible things to do than stick my finger down my throat. But Trump, look, as much as he is a fantastic man to loathe, and for so many good reasons, doesn't he just own himself?
Completely.
And as much as that's gross in many ways, you can't help but have a little bit of admiration for the man that just is like, and this is who I am.
Just doesn't give a fuck about. Yep. No apologies.
No apologies. And, you know, he's not really the examples that say we want to be like, but that's what I'm saying. Even the people we don't like, we can still go, yeah, but you own yourself. And there is something cool about that. Even if I don't agree at all with what you do. Yeah.
But it does give you permission, like you're saying, to like, if this totally repulsive person can fully own themselves, why can't I own myself? And why can't I be my true, full, integrated self and own it?
And the world is needing people we can trust. And the world, people are needing people we can trust, you know, and you know the people in your life that you really trust. And one of the reasons that you really trust them is because they are who they are, not trying to be anybody else. And that makes you feel safe. And we need that. We need stronger foundations for everybody. And I wanted to be that for me. And I wanted to be for other people, to go, cool, no, I don't have it all worked out. I'm going to be really honest about that. But this is who I am. That may grow and evolve. And I give my permission to myself to grow and evolve. And I'm okay if you don't like me. I'm okay if I'm too much or not enough. And I'm okay when I stuff up. And yeah, like if I can be me, then I can hopefully that will support, that in itself will support you, even if I don't ever come across you again.
Exactly. Yeah. And touching on what you were just saying about like, I'm okay being too much for people, I'm okay being not enough for some people. Have you found either in the past or even right now that you do get tripped up into like, am I being too much for this person, or feeling like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm not clever enough, or I'm not smart enough, or whatever? Do you feel like you ever get caught in that now?
No.
No.
I know the areas where I want to develop in for me, and I can be honest and truthful with myself to go, I'm just really rubbish at this, or I'm needing to put way more work into it, or I don't know how to do it, and that can look on particular days as frustration and anger and tears. But I'm not saying you're no good, Lauren, you're not as good as this person. I don't compare. When I see somebody who is good, that inspires me, I'm like, yes, I'm going to learn from you, and I'm going to look at what it is that I admire and what it is that you're teaching me, and then not copy, but find my own way to be that.
Yes.
And sometimes I do feel like I might be too much for people, and I can feel like, oh, tone it down a bit, but it's probably more my excitement sometimes, or my play, or my passion, and I want to be respectful. So I want to be respectful of the other person. It's not as though I feel like I'm too much. It's more going, I don't want to feel like I'm pressing or pushing my beliefs and my views onto you. So that's when I will catch myself out to go, oh, tone it down. Hang on, stop. You're being too excited and passionate. The person's glazing over.
You're getting a read on the energy, and the read is like, whoa, walls coming up.
Yeah. And so it's not as though I then want to beat up on myself. It's more just going, okay, hang on, whoa, stop. Just be respectful that that's not their thing, or that they're just not coping with your crazy today. Yeah. I really probably have mostly gotten to the point of not giving a fuck. Yeah. And then the next time that I have a big growth, I do feel nervous about needing to share it, but it's more because I'm wanting to know, how can I share it that's anchored and not like,
Yeah. Rocket ships everywhere. Have you always felt that way, as far as like not really giving a fuck, or that's been a process as well and a learning curve for you?
Really worry about, what are they going to think of me? What are they going to think of me? What are they going to think of me? Yeah. I stopped doing that. You know, and I think for me, it actually, I made some different decisions in my life that automatically made me, you know, step out from the well-trodden path, that had nothing to do with intuition as such, or owning my. It was just different lifestyle decisions that copped a lot of judgment and flack from, and, you know, understandably so. And when you choose that, you've got then a choice to continue to beat up on yourself and to try and fit back in, or you just go, no, this is my life. I'm going to accept these decisions that I've made, whether they've been, you know, positive or negative. I'm going to make them positive. And I'm going to utilize and do something with this. I mean, it's this one awesome life. It's so cool. And then I'm going to go, okay, cool. Well, you guys all think of me like this anyways. Like, I can't do anything more. Like, I just really realized people are going to have their own thoughts about who you are, whether you're staying in the middle of the road of the well-trodden path or not. Like, you dress this way, or you look that way, or you don't do parenting right, or you don't, you know, you haven't, everything, anything. I may as well just do it for me, and accept that, you know, people are going to judge anyway.
Yeah, and it is something I find with the people that I work with, or I have worked with. I've noticed that issue of comparison is the one that comes up quite a lot, where people will look outside or look on social media, and people seem to have like more gifts or better gifts, or that they are like more profound, or they're more connected with the mystical realm or something like that, and looking out and then coming back to themselves and just having this awful feeling like I'm not enough and I'll never be enough.
That awful feeling is not confirmation of I'm not enough, or I'll never be enough, or I don't know what my thing is, and my thing isn't as good. That awful feeling is telling you that you're misaligned.
Yeah.
That belief is not true. It's not confirmation that, yes, that thought about yourself is true, that, and I'm going to make you feel this is why you're feeling bad. The feeling bad is, no, wrong thought, wrong belief.
Not true. Yeah. Big X.
Yeah. Disengage, abort, reverse. And see, I've been, I guess, maybe fortunate enough to not suffer so much with comparing, because I have this, I guess, maybe my background in having a religious background, is that God makes everything perfect. And God, whatever that means for you, God makes So that's their thing, and that's so cool. And I can celebrate the fact that they've put it together enough, that puzzle together enough to be able to articulate, communicate, do something with it. And I can too. So stop looking there, turn back around, pay more attention to what my inner guidance in here is saying. Stop comparing how far along I am on my path. I'm exactly where I'm meant to be, even though these other people seem to be ahead. There is no such thing as ahead. Time goes upwards. It doesn't go linear. And I don't know, just get into your own life. Like, have fun with, I want to swear. Can I swear?
You totally can. Yeah.
Have fun with the fuckery in here. Like, it's crazy in here, man. And it's so fun in here. And it's confusing and it's beautiful. And it's this wild, internal, vast, magical, cosmic landscape that is so much more interesting than the very now outdated. Anything that you were seeing outside is already old. This video, already old. It's old. In here is where this is the leading edge. Get in there. Yeah. So excited.
Some in there. Have you felt on your journey, because when I see you, and I'm sure when other people see you too, you feel to me like such, like a visionary, like a pioneer, like this vanguard who is a way shower and a leader and just breaking ground in this new landscape and this new terrain of energy and intuition. Has there been someone who can also be a leader and a way shower to you, or like resources or practices or training? Like, have you had to be fully self-taught, or has there been someone who's like not steps ahead of you, but somebody that you can like reach to teach you and to help you grow and evolve on your own path?
There was, or you know, is in terms of this woman is still alive. I had a reading with her when I was 24, 25, and it was the catalyst. It was, she put in a high definition, so she read my energy, my frequency, very similar to basically what I do now. And she confirmed to me that I wasn't crazy, basically. And I just went, you've just put me in high definition, and you have just, so she didn't tell me anything new. She told me exactly what I knew. But all of that felt too big and too much and too wild and too crazy and too out of my box that it was that I had inherited from my family and from my culture. And she went, no, you're good. And I went, oh, thank God. And I had that session with her, and then I had another session with her when I would have been just before I came out with Inner Hue. And by then I had developed my own skill, my skill. So again, it was interesting. If I'm being really blatantly honest, she's quite expensive for me. So it was a few $100s, and it was for an hour session. And the second time when I went to see her, I kind of was like, right, you didn't really need to spend that money, because you
knew it. Yeah.
I had definitely developed my skill well enough to go, yeah, cool, I know that. But just to have this person that I looked up to confirm, no, you're good, I needed that as well. Even though I walked out and went, I can't remember, I think it would have been like $300 for an hour, and I was like, well, that was lots of money I didn't need to really spend anyway. But she definitely was somebody that I really admired, and that honestly, just being in her presence, there is something very understated around being around somebody that you resonate with, that is in their thing, in their truth, being who they are. That will upgrade you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. So everything else was reading material, not woo woo, like, you know, I don't know, purple velvet and all sorts of like very 70s, 80s kind of stuff.
The Crystal Cat book.
Yeah, no. I really dig science. I'm a bit of a science kind of nerd, and I just knew that this is not magical. I mean, it is, but this is grounded in physics and maths, and
Yeah.
this is biology. And so I needed to find material that was teaching in a way that would make sense of my own experiences, the things that I was doing. And frequency does that best.
Mm. Yeah, and just going back to what you were saying about this woman that you had a reading from, because I really feel like we're all so different, obviously, and some people need like a mentor or a teacher, that's someone who can be like, break it down into like different steps, into different practices, into different modules, I guess. But some of us have those activations or have those up levelings just by being in the presence of someone who reminds us of who we are, just by like not necessarily directly teaching us something, but by just confirming in a way that like you're okay the way that you are. And I felt for me, I needed more than just, because I read like every single book on the planet about intuition and about energy, and I have all of the information stored up here. But for me to get to that next level where I actually was intuitive, like actively intuitive, I really needed at the time, and now too, just a mentor like you who was like, push me off the deep end and like, just do it. Do it.
We've got to move away from consuming. There is nothing that I can encourage more. Your system tells you when you've consumed enough. If you're paying attention, when you first start to get introduced to a new idea, to a new, you know, having a conversation with somebody who they're telling you, say, when I was first introduced to the idea of Lemuria, I was like, oh, fuck, what? Or, you know, extraterrestrials as really being something very real and really being something very powerful and supportive and not scary. And I was like, they're all my beliefs. These are all the things that I was constructed. Because the other thing, if I was paying attention, there was a little internally that's like, yeah, no, hang on, it's right. So it's a matter of being able to push your framework out, or to go, okay, cool, you're really intuitive, you can read energy, you can pick up information, or you can send light out of your hands. You're like, what? I can't see nothing coming out of my hands. Come on, man. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, like, challenge yourself and move away from reading about it. When you read, when you get introduced to an idea, it's going to feel exciting, and you're going to enjoy reading, you're going to consume. And then your hit's like eating too much. You're like, I can't eat anymore. It's like, I'm no longer getting that excitement, that rush. This is no longer feeling good. This is feeling like it's irritating me, or like I don't want to go there. And there's a composting period where you're integrating it. But even then, after composting, you can't return back to it. You have to then move into applying it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get a teacher and a mentor, and really, even with you, honey, I did nothing other than tell you to go about doing it. I did not teach you anything.
Yeah.
You taught yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you just came back. I said, you come back and you talk about what you saw, how it worked for you, what happened. We can talk about the finer technical stuff. But I didn't teach you how to do anything. I just went, go on, shove, go start, work it out. Because that's actually how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, step one is this thing, step two is that thing. It's not. And you have to understand, no one really taught you how to walk. No one taught you how to crawl. You know, it just
You did it.
You did it. You worked it out. And when you're at that phase, whatever it is, whether it's applying it to intuition or not, whether it's applying it to some other area of your life, you know it in you. Listen to what it is inside that's telling you how to step it out. That's your greatest teacher. It's that's in you already. Don't need to go anywhere else. It's helpful to have someone that can, back you up. It's like, hey, big buddy, this is what's happened. How cool was that? Or I'm having a really down day. They're needed, but I don't think anybody there can really be there to teach you how to understand something that's inside of you. Only you can do that.
Exactly. And yeah, again, you embody that brilliantly as a teacher who's just like teaching by just pushing out of the nest. Have fun flying. I'll be here when you get back up.
You can find out who's like, flap.
Totally.
That's really it. That's really it. I think all the work that comes before it is your own self-belief. You have to have done the cleanup first, or more of the cleanup than not. You have to at least get 50% of the way in the cleanup, and you've got to go, I think I can do this. I really think I can. I feel like I'm ready to do this. I don't know how. That's cool. Good. Don't need to know how. You just have to get to the point of, in whatever area of life it is you want to apply it. Okay, I think I can do this now. I'm ready to. I own me enough that this is possible for me now. That's as far as you got to get. The rest of the way,
Definitely. And if somebody is at the point where they're just like, they're at that point where they believe it's possible for them, maybe they watch this video, or maybe they've done all this inner work and they're now at that stage where they're like, okay, I believe it's possible for me to be intuitive. Even though they already are, they're now at the point where they're like, this is possible for me. Is there a specific practice you would recommend, or like a next step to experiment with or to get curious about to help that person get to their next level of like, not only is it possible for me, but I'm doing this now?
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, and my answer's very boring. The next step is whatever it is that's internally that you're being told is your next step.
Yeah.
That's it. It's really as simple as that. That might be meditation. That might be yoga. It might be going and doing some training program with somebody. It might be you need to start to spend more time outside, or you need to cull all the crap from your house. I think we have placed so much emphasis on there being some really incredible ritual, and can this person who knows that's apparently here that has these skills, they're going to bestow to me this wonderful process where I'm just going to have it all come together. And as far as I'm concerned, that's bullshit. Like, I could tell you some of those. I could tell you incredible processes that would my journey that really helped me harness things more. But that's not necessarily going to be applicable to you, because you are your own unique system, and you are your own, in the place of where you're at, you have different requirements than what I had. And so I could give you something and it might be like, whoa, that was great, but I'm still not there. It's about really honestly stop looking out to everybody else, and going, okay, what's the first thing in here? And to not override anything that might seem small and mundane. Those are usually the most important.
Or even irrelevant, right?
Yeah. Don't think that it's going to seem logical all the time, or don't think that it's going to be like, oh wow, that's like the really big, that process, and that's so profound.
And then the angel visited me through the clouds.
Those things happen, but they happen once you're doing all the other small stuff. This is about staying true to your word. So if your internal guidance is like, okay, now you've got to do that, do it. Like, that is the profound thing. So I know I disappoint when I say boring things like that, but I would be lying to you if I went, okay, right, so now let me just take you through this process.
Exactly. And I think it's, people crave the easy answers, and people desire these like shortcuts and quick tips and 5 steps. And I think that that's part of why I really resonate with you, is that it's like, that is bullshit. And that is, I could make a list for you, but that's not, there are no shortcuts, and there are no one step.
Yeah, will you tell me the list?
Yeah.
That way around.
Which you have done to me before, so.
Everybody.
No, it works. It totally works. And then my last question then, Lauren, is if people want to learn more about your work or where they can find you, where's the best place to connect with you online?
Innerhue, INNERHUE. Google it, and I think it comes up with all the things.
The website, all the things, the Instagram, the Facebook. And then just thank you so much for having this conversation, and for just keeping it real as always. That's one of the things that I appreciate the most about you, and I know that it will be just really refreshing and really reassuring for people to see this, and it's like, oh yeah, it's actually, this is real, and it's not this like mystical formula. So thank you so much.
No, thank you. This is it's been very fun. You're very cool, and I just always get so excited when I see you doing this stuff. Mostly because it's so wonderful to champion on people that are just being who they are, and unabashedly, and not in an arrogant way, just like, this is me and I'm going for it, and I'm just following internally my path in my life, and I'm like, yes.
You're doing it, right? You're doing it, I'm doing it.
It's nice to walk next to you. It's the best ever.
Thank you so much, Lauren.